This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? Welcome to the Divisional Round preview and prediction show here on the Louie Tee Network. Of course, I'm your set man, Louie Tee, here to break down the best 8 teams we got left in this thing, and it's going to be probably the best. It's arguably, for me, for my money, this is the best weekend the National Football League has to offer. You get the teams coming off of the bye week. You get the teams coming off of a momentous win in Wild Card Weekend. The two teams will clash. We'll get a winner. It'll set up our beautiful championship weekend, which will then set up our Super Bowl. So for me, this is probably as good as you're going to get. 2 games on Saturday, 2 more on Sunday. Last weekend, we will be able to say we got football on both days. So this is going to be a weekend chock full of great games. And after having a dud, and let's call it what it was. Let's call a spade a spade. Okay, Wild Card Weekend was disappointing. It was a dud. No game was really competitive. We had quarters that were good. We had halves of football that were good and compelling. We even had games that went 3 quarters that were good, but we did not have a start to finish game that was must-see TV in Wild Card Weekend. So we're hoping that the divisional round delivers for us, and I think we got a couple of matchups on the docket, one on each day, that I believe will deliver exactly that for us in this round of football. So I really think 3 out of the 4 games are going to be highly competitive, as a matter of fact. Let's talk about these games. Before we do, though, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game. Want you to help us do that by simply hitting that red subscribe button on YouTube to become a member of the Louie Tee Network. Also, I'm on Twitter, and as you can see behind me on the crawl, I've got all of the different information that you'll need for this weekend and all of the 2017 NFL playoffs, for that matter. I'm going to be on Twitter all game long, chopping it up. So if you want to hit me up, you want to talk about something, you see something during the game, you want to chop it up with your man Louie Tee, feel free. Make sure you use the hashtag Louie Tee Live, and also make sure you're following me on Twitter at In The Lab Room. I'm also going to go live if something happens and I just feel compelled and the spirit moves me to jump on live on Twitter, I will. And so halftime show live on Twitter at halftime. I'm going to break down the first half of action, tell you what I think is going to take place in the second half, talk about adjustments that need to be made, and talk about all the things that transpired in the first half to get us to where we are at that point of the game. So make sure you are locked in on Twitter at In The Lab Room is the Twitter handle, and also I'm on Facebook. In The Lab Room is Facebook page. Go ahead and like the Facebook page. So let's jump into these breakdowns. I'm going to do these very quickly. I'm not going to spend as much time as I did last week. I just want to get in and get out, give you a quick preview synopsis of the game and what I think is going to take place, and give you my winners and move on. So let's jump into the first game of the weekend, Saturday, 4:30 slot. You've got the 2-seeded Atlanta Falcons coming off of the bye, defending the Georgia Dome, taking on the number 3-seeded Seattle Seahawks. And this is a game here, a little bit of a rematch game from the regular season. Falcons fans feel like they were robbed out in Seattle. A no call late in that game on a Julio Jones, a defended pass. You could argue there's really no argument to be made here. Richard Sherman destroyed Julio Jones on this play. How a flag wasn't thrown here, it should not have come to that. Falcons had this game late. Matt Ryan throws an interception, and that gives them the opportunity to take the lead, and then you get the big play at the end, the no call, whatever. Bottom line is, that was in Seattle, okay? That was with a healthy Earl Thomas. You have neither one of those things here, okay? This game is in Atlanta. This Seattle Seahawks team, to me, still struggling. They were struggling then offensively. I think they're still struggling now offensively. Even though the offensive line was much improved last game and Thomas Rawls went bananas, I don't see that happening in this particular game. Now, the Falcons can be run on. We've seen it before, but I think this defense is getting better. The only thing you guard against here, young football team, first time in the playoffs for a lot of these young players, They don't really know what this environment is like. And you're coming off a bye. Is there some rust? Will that be a factor? I don't know. Can't speak to that right now. We will find out. We want to see how the Falcons come out in this game. But if you're asking me whose offense is better, Falcons, check. If you're asking me whose defense is better, Seahawks, check. But it's an iffy check. It's not like it used to be where you're like, hey, that's a definite check. I watched Detroit go up and down the field last week, and if not for mistakes, some missed calls by the officials, maybe that's a different outcome. Bottom line is, in this football game, I see the Seahawks having opportunities. They have to take advantage of them, okay? Can't settle for field goals. Russell Wilson can't miss throws. Guys can't drop passes. They've got to take full advantage of any and every opportunity that comes their way in this game. That includes the defensive side of the football. If they get a chance for a turnover, they must capitalize because this Falcons team is dynamic. They're explosive, and they can get it done. I can see the Falcons running the football in this game because the Lions had a little bit of success early, but they didn't have it often in that football game. I could see Matt Ryan throwing the football on them. I thought he threw it well against them the first time. Remember that third quarter? That's when they did the majority of their damage in that game versus Seattle, when Matt Ryan went bananas in the third quarter, had about 3 touchdown passes as they took the lead in that game. They can throw the football on Seattle. And like I said, the first game featured Earl Thomas. This one won't, and the defense hasn't been the same to me since Earl Thomas's injury. So I'm looking for the Falcons to go in, execute the game plan, which is stay balanced, run the football, set up play action fake, take your shots when they're available, and make plays and score points in bunches because Seattle can't keep up. They're not a high-octane offense. They're not a team that's going to put up 33 points in a game. If the Falcons can make this a shootout, and again, I think this is going to be a game where Seattle is going to struggle to put points up, and Atlanta is going to put some pressure on them early by scoring and kind of taking the run game out of the equation. I think this game is all Atlanta, 27-17. Falcons get it done at home and advance to the NFC Championship Game. Remember, the last time these two teams played in the playoffs, it's a hell of a matchup. Came down to the end. Russell Wilson in his rookie season took his team down the field, gave them the lead with less than a minute to go, only to see Matt Ryan take his team back down the field, put him in position for a Matt Bryant field goal that sent the Atlanta Falcons to the NFC Championship Game. We'll see if there's a repeat of that or not, but I still see the Falcons finding a way to win this game, and I think they're going to do it decisively. I don't expect this game to be as close as many of you probably do. I think the Falcons can dominate this game because I'm not that impressed with the Seahawks, even though, like I said before, their offensive line impressed me last week. That was Detroit. This is Atlanta. They can get pressure on the quarterback, and I think they're going to do some things that's going to set this game up to be a big win for the Atlanta Falcons, 27-17. Move on to the nightcapper. This is the one game that I am positively sure about. All right, all these other games could go either way. Even though I feel confident that the Falcons are going to win the first game, still think that Seattle is right there. And if they make some plays and if Matt Ryan and company don't get it done, we've seen the Falcons struggle when the other team can run the football, a la the Philadelphia Eagles game when the Eagles ran for over 200 yards on this Falcons defense. If you run the football, you can control the clock, you can control the pace of the game, and keep that electric Falcons offense off the field. If the Seahawks can do that, they got a great shot to go into the Georgia Dome and neutralize them and win. This game right here has no such effect to it. There's really not much to explain here. I'm talking about the number 4 seeded Houston Texans in the AFC traveling to Foxborough for the second time this season, where they were blanked the first time without Tom Brady on a Thursday night, which was an embarrassment, going up against the New England Patriots, the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. Let's keep this one simple and short. Look, Brock Osweiler and company, they looked impressive last week. Brock didn't turn it over. They ran it a little bit. They did everything they needed to do. They dominated a third-string quarterback in Connor Cook for the Oakland Raiders, and they won that game 27-14. You're not getting a third-string quarterback here. As a matter of fact, you're getting a GOAT here in Tom Brady. You're not going to allow Jadeveon Clowney to go off on someone's second-string left tackle in Menelik Watson. You're going to get Bill Belichick here. And what Belichick does is he takes away your best player. Now, maybe Whitney Merciless gets off in this game, but I'm going to tell you one thing. It won't be Jadeveon Clowney. That's for goddamn sure, because Bill Belichick will make sure that Clowney is quiet in this game. They're going to run over these boys, whether they run it 27 times or they throw it 47 times. It doesn't matter. The Patriots are going to win this game, and it's going to be decisive. I'm taking the Patriots in a rout in this football game, 33-10. I don't think this one is going to be close, and I don't expect the Texans to put up much resistance in this football game. I'm probably disrespecting their defense a bit, but we're talking about Tom Brady here. With a week of extra preparation, Bill Belichick, B&B winning factory. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? Let's go on to Sunday's games, where we should have been starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Chiefs have a little bit of inclement weather going on there. So they're going to push the game back to 8:30 that night. So now your first game on Sunday turns into the late game, which is now the early game on Sunday. The number 4 seeded Green Bay Packers in the NFC taking on the top seeded NFC team, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And this is probably going to be the best game of the weekend. Aaron Rodgers versus Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and that rookie backfield. This should be fascinating football. Must-see TV. Rodgers was good last week. He was AR-12 last week, and he sprayed the Giants full of holes, 4 touchdown passes en route to a 30, what did we get up to, 38 last week to 13 victory. I mean, my goodness, he put on a show last week. And the first time these two teams met, and it's funny because this is the third matchup, and all 4 of these matchups were played in the regular season. I don't know if I've ever seen that where we have a divisional round where every single matchup is a rematch from the regular season. And right now, I'm looking at all of these games, and I think we're going to have a new winner in that game, same winner there, boom, boom. Okay, so in any event, this is a fascinating matchup because I don't think the Packers are anywhere near the team they were the first time these two teams met. As a matter of fact, they were reeling at that point. Eddie Lacy was on one leg. The offense, we kept asking questions. What's going on with this offense? What's going on with Aaron Rodgers? Is Aaron Rodgers washed up? I actually had to answer those types of questions, which were asinine, and I was swatting them away like Dikembe. No, not today. But I still had to answer them any damn way. To me, Aaron Rodgers is piping hot right now. I mean, this dude is smoking hot. And this Cowboys football team, much like the Falcons, you don't know what you're getting from a young football team that hasn't been here. You're coming off of a bye week. Got some guys coming back from injury. Is there a rust factor here? Is there a slow start? Is there a potential for Aaron Rodgers and company to jump on top of the Cowboys and put them in a position that they haven't been in many times this season, trying to come from behind? They haven't done that well this year. They did it against Philadelphia. They did do it against the Steelers, but they haven't been in that position many times this season where they've had to come from behind. They've been front runners and some damn good ones this season. And so those are all questions we don't know the answer to, but one thing's for sure. The Packers defensively, they're not great. And the Cowboys offensively are great, okay? That offensive line, one of the best we've seen in quite some time. Ezekiel Elliott setting all types of records for rookies in terms of the running back position. Dak Prescott doing the same at the quarterback position. If given the time that they've had all season, if the holes are opened up that they've had all season for Ezekiel Elliott, this Dallas Cowboys offense is going to score. The question is, can they outscore Aaron Rodgers? Can that defense, that no-name Cowboys defense, step up and do to Aaron Rodgers what they did to him the first time down in Lambeau, where they flummoxed him, forced him to turn it over like 4 times in that game and dominated the Packers in Lambeau? That game was a joke. The Cowboys dominated that football game. They're not going to dominate this game. And yes, there is no Jordy Nelson, but I don't know if that matters or not because Aaron Rodgers is hot. But I said all of that to say this. This Cowboys offense is for real. It's legit. This Packers defense is not. I think the Cowboys have enough defense to get it done at home. Give me the Dallas Cowboys over the Green Bay Packers, 27-23. Cowboys get it done and move on to the NFC Championship Game. You go to the final game of Divisional Round weekend, and it's a rematch of what was a laugher in the regular season, much like the Cowboys dominating. The Steelers dominated at home on a Sunday night versus the Chiefs. It was a wet, nasty night. The Chiefs simply didn't show up, and the Steelers jumped those boys. Before they knew what hit them, it was 28-0 in the second quarter. And that game got out of hand by halftime. That game was not watchable. So they're looking to avenge an ugly loss, are the Chiefs. They're at home this time. They're coming off of a bye week. They look like they'll have Justin Houston back. They'll have all of their guys ready to rock and roll, all hands on deck for this one. This might be a different football game. Ben Roethlisberger nursing a little bit of a foot injury, ankle injury that he sustained last game. How will the Pittsburgh Steelers fare on the road in a hostile environment? Look, I said it before the season started. I'm not moving off of this spot. Even though I said the Packers were going to make the Super Bowl and I didn't pick them last week and I didn't pick them this week, I'm sticking with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That defense is playing much better football. The offense is as dangerous as it gets in this league. When Ben is clicking, Brown is clicking, Bell is clicking, the killer bees are good enough to kill you by themselves. And so now they're getting contributions from Eli Rogers and all these other guys that are contributing to the success of the Steelers offense. This is a dangerous Steelers football team. And like I said, the defense isn't great. They can be had, but they're getting better. And now they're putting pressure on the quarterback. If they can stop the run early in this football game and force Alex Smith to beat them, they've got a chance to not only win this game, but win it decisively. I don't see that happening because I have more respect for the Chiefs' defense than I did the Dolphins' defense. This is going to be a very competitive football game, but when it's all said and done, the Steelers are the better team here, and they're going to get it done on the road, 23-17 over the Kansas City Chiefs, who have problems scoring. We saw it against Tampa Bay at home. We saw it against Tennessee at home. They jump out to early leads, and they turn the faucet off, and they can't score any more points. Not saying that they're going to jump out to an early, quick lead here on the Steelers, but we've seen them struggle to try to get to 20 and not make it in multiple games at home this season and lose. And I think this is another one of those games where they fail to crack that 20-point threshold, and the Steelers get them 23-17 to move on to the AFC Championship Game. So those are my picks and my predictions. I think that I went 3-1 last week. I'm looking for a clean sweep this week. Wouldn't shock me if I went 3-1. I've got a game in mind that I think I might lose, but I'm going to keep that to myself until that outcome is reached. Those are my picks. Where are yours? Send me your picks via Twitter so we can discuss what goes down in the divisional round of the playoffs, arguably the best weekend the NFL has to offer. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you guys on social media during the game, after the game. You know where to find me. Also at halftime. Should be a lot of fun. These are some really good teams squaring off. All of these are rematches from the regular season. Looking forward to seeing part 2 and the sequels to all of these matchups. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie Tee Network. I'll see you guys on Saturday for the doubleheader, followed by Sunday's doubleheaders. And right here is where you'll find the breakdown of all of these games. And on Twitter is where you'll find the halftime reports, among other things. I'll see you guys then. Make sure you subscribe to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and you like the Facebook page. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Enjoy the football. Where are your picks? I'll see you later.